Hello and welcome. How are you doing? Hope you're good. This is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swaggerslifestyle. I am always excited every Saturday because I get to come and have wonderful conversations with you. And today, I know that a lot of you saw the flyer and started saying that I must be here today because this conversation, a lot of people shy away from it, but I'm glad that we are having this conversation. So today we're going to talk about the truth about marriage no one talks about. When it has to do with marriage, everybody paints this picture of forever together, which yes, actually that is how it's supposed to be. And they paint the picture like rosy, power couple and all of that. But under all of that, there is work. So today we're talking about the truth about marriage no one talks about. And I said, who are people that I would bring on, on the show today to be able to talk about this conversation? Now, today we are laying it bare. So everybody, we have blunt people here, we have emotional people here, we have strong-willed people here. We're just going to have this wonderful conversation. And I'll just leave them to please introduce themselves. So we have three amazing people here from three different walks of life, and they are all married. So I'll just allow them to please introduce yourself. I'll go with ladies first.
Okay, thank you so much, Funke. It's such an honor to be here. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I'm Adekunbi Fasheki, beautypreneur, wife, mother, businesswoman, multi-potentialite. I'm skilled in so many things, and I love the topic of marriage and parenting and all of that. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show today. So we will take Lucas.
Hi, everyone. Funke, thank you for having me back. My name is Lucas Togan. As you can see, I'm married, I've got 2 kids. I work with a HR consultancy. Basically, I solve problems everywhere. So this topic is particularly interesting because it's tricky, and we hope that we can open the can of good ones tonight.
Thank you for coming. And then we have Babs.
Hi guys, my name is Babs. I am a couple of things. I'm an academic. I'm in academics. I am an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur. I do quite a number of things. I'm a biker, a father, and a husband. I hope we're able to represent different angles that we share towards marriage today. While some will come from an angle, I'm sure some other people will come from another angle. So at the end of the day, I hope we're all able to learn something and then agree to disagree, if there's anything like that.
Yeah, thank you all for coming on the show today. And I am actually super pumped because I know we're going to have an amazing conversation. So let's go straight into our conversation today. So I think I have actually established how we're going to take the answers. So ladies first, then Lucas, and then Babs. So let's us start. What is marriage to you?
Okay, awesome. What I know marriage to be is when 2 imperfect people come together to start a family. I also believe that marriage was ordained by God. It's His perfect design in bringing to pass everything He would have happen, redemption and all of that. So I believe it's God's plan, and I personally believe it's something I can't do without His help. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay. Lucas.
Wow. Okay. So I think honestly, marriage is a societal construct that helps to build the family. I think it's society's idea of making sense of what a family unit is. I think that's for me. That for me is what the fundamental meaning of marriage is.
It's a societal construct.
Yeah. It's a societal construct to make sense of what a family unit is. I'm trying to keep it short so we don't take all that time.
Babs.
Okay, hi guys. I'm going to take a slightly different approach. what is marriage? It depends on who's asking. If you're asking as a Christian, then you'll be talking about the coming together of two people as ordained by God, blah, 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 blah. If you're talking about it as a Muslim, it might be something a little bit different. If you're talking about it as an atheist or just like that's an English word, is the coming together, the union of two people together, cohabit together, raise a family together. So a definition of marriage is different and as varies. It depends on who is asking and from what angle they're looking at it from. But basically, it's the coming together of two people. That recently it's changed to sometimes same-sex and all of that.
Okay, so the question is, today I want us to personalize to an extent. So I asked, what is marriage to you?
Okay, so we go the round again. I'll go after
Yes.
Kumbi.
Okay, to me. Okay, so Lucas said something and he mentioned society, and to me, who is the society? I believe that the society is formed from whatever union, whatever marriage, how do I put it? We individuals are society, and we are usually product of the family we come from. So marriage is how, in summary, to me, how we raise our society. Simple and short. It is how we raise our society. It's how we bring out the people who make up our society and the construct of our society. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Lucas.
Yeah. So I think for me there is I think personally, I think I'll just use myself. So in the beginning, I've been married for 11 years. Before I got married, marriage was a to do, was something to do. It was on my list of to do. When I got married, it was, what the hell did I get myself into? And then through the marriage, it was okay. I'm figuring this thing out. Okay, I get it. I'm supposed to do X, Y, Z. And after 10 years, you realize there is a real purpose to this thing. There's a real purpose to why this thing exists. So to me, again, I'd say it would not have made sense for any society because I'm very big on family and I'm very big on the nuclear family. And I'll take a line from Kumbi. My position on a lot of things are kind of fluid, but when it comes to the nuclear family, I'm kind of strong because these kids, especially a marriage that wants kids, these kids did not ask to be born. So it's important that this new entrance into society enter into some kind of structure. It's just what makes sense in any society. So it doesn't matter what part of the world you're in, whether you're west, east, or in the middle, regardless of the culture, as long as people come, as soon as more than 2, 3, 4 people come together, you realize that human nature starts to crave structure. And even in the hamlets where you have 20 huts or 30 huts, there must be some kind of structure, rule, so that things are done properly and things make sense. And for things to make sense, I figured, I wasn't there, but it makes sense to know that, okay, this person is with this person. I'm not going to explore the entire modern day latitude of marriage. I mean, all of that. I'm just going to strip with the legacy marriage, man, woman. So in most of those societies, it made sense that a man and a woman were brought into the structure properly, and their family unit was defined. So marriage would always make sense. So personally, I'm still on that side where it was the right thing to do. It's still the right thing to do for the most part, especially if you're thinking children. That marriage should be what it is. I think at least in the beginning, the definition should be clear before we talk of all the other elements. So to me, that's where it is.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that journey. Babs.
Okay, so what marriage means to me as a Christian as well is there's so many things in the Bible that points towards the reason for bringing a man and a woman together. First thing I believe was in the beginning when God created man, and he thought man should not be by himself, that he needs to create somebody, a companion and a helper to be with the man. So definitely, as a Christian, you see where God was coming from when he started the concept of marriage. It has to be with companionship, and then as we proceed further, we also know the scripture that talks about that likens Christ and the bride of Christ is the church. So he talks about some, or he's trying to explain some interdependency between the church and Christ itself. And so that is something we can also liken marriage to be. And then we can also see marriage as the lawful way to procreate. If you're not married, you're not supposed to have kids. If you're not married, you're not supposed to, according to the Christian faith. So obviously, like the gentleman said, Lucas, you get married for the purpose of fulfilling God's law and his command, his dictates. They say, go into the world and, do this, multiply and all of that. How do you multiply? By giving birth. How do you give birth? Legally? It's by getting married without, So obviously, marriage is a way for you to fulfill the purpose of God on earth, which is to procreate. So if you're procreating through marriage, then you're also fulfilling the law of Christ. So marriage to me as a Christian, it's a concept that was put together, or it's a concept that was well thought of by God to fulfill a lot of his purposes on earth. So in marriage, when you have kids, you have a balance to raising kids. And like the lady also said as well, that is a microcosm of the society, the family life, the nuclear family, how you grow the kids and then to become responsible adults, and for them to continue to bear the torch. And then they do the same thing. And then if marriage as a concept as seen by Christ is well executed, we wouldn't have the kind of society we have at the moment where, you all know what's going on right now. So don't let me overflow there. But marriage is, as God wants it to be, it's about companionship, it's about procreation, it's about interdependency, it's about helping each other out and all of that. And I believe that is my own reason for eventually getting married, because I wasn't going to.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for that revelation. Okay. Now, what are the things? Now, I know that you all are married, yeah? So what are the things you have learned or are learning in marriage that you did not know?
And I believe that I start I start my response. Okay. So I always had this fairy tale image of what marriage would be, that it would be easy, rosy, you get married, you have kids, everything is butterflies everywhere and all of that. But I've come to understand that marriage is in seasons. So anyone that gets into marriage expecting the honeymoon phase for as long as they've been married is just going to deceive themselves. First of all, it's two of you, and then you have a kid or more, and the whole dynamics change. The responsibilities change. The attention you give yourselves change. So I've come to understand that it's seasons and how you feel about each other change. But before I got married, I came to understand that the way you felt about what we call love, because I mean, people don't get married to people they don't have some sort of affection towards. But I came to understand early that love was a decision and it wasn't a feeling. The feelings will go, they will come, they will go, they will change, they will get better, and you have to understand that your decision to the way you let me not say your decision to get married, but the way you feel about your spouse, your chosen spouse, is not supposed to be a feeling, it's supposed to be a decision. Things are going to happen, dynamics are going to change. The environment you probably met yourself is going to change. I mean, for someone like me that met my husband in school, the dynamics change. The person to say shut up to, we got married, and all of a sudden I'm the head of the home. That was new. That was different. I wasn't prepared for that. So I came to understand early that I needed to put my, not necessarily put my feelings aside, but I needed to understand that they would change. I mean, I have kids, right? We all have kids. And sometimes they do the most annoying things. I don't decide to throw them away. I don't decide I'm not their mom anymore. They're not my child anymore. So because I had that understanding that the way I feel or the love I have for my spouse or my children, it's a decision. So if I'm feeling somehow towards them, I don't even go near that aspect of do I love them or do I not love them, because love do so many things and so many things that go beyond how I feel about the person, especially when I am upset with the person. That's the first thing. I think the second thing I have learned is that you need to constantly evolve, even as your spouse evolves. You can't, how do I put it? There's this thing people joke about and they say, marriage is the only institution that you get your certificates well before you do the exam kind of thing. You can never be too prepared. And anything you ignore before you get married, or another thing that anything that is not before you get married will just intensify. Anything you choose to look away from might intensify, except there's a change, of understanding. So we need to constantly, there's a lot. I wish I try to put it down somewhere. I try to put this thing that I'm trying to say down somewhere, and I just can't find it right now. But I just learned that it's in seasons. It's a decision you make, the decision to get married, the decision you need to stand up. That's why they always say before you even get married at all, be very sure. Because when you've decided to make, to say those words in front of God, those sacred words in front of God, you have better be ready to stand by them. So for me, and lastly, let me just say, for me, I always said it that divorce was never an option. I always said it that divorce, it has not been easy to stand by that, but I've always stood by it, and I'm still married today. So thank God for it. Yeah.
Thank you for that insight. Lucas.
Yeah, so first, it's about 3 things I've learned over the course of 11 years. I didn't have a lot of mentors. I didn't have a lot of mentors in my young age. So I got into my marriage with my dad's template. And my dad was born in 42. So he had so you can imagine, he had all his kids in the 70s and early 80s. So you know what that template is. So that was the only template I had, because while I identify as Christian, I'm very liberal in my thinking. I'm very fluid in how I live my life. But I do identify as a Christian, and I understand a lot of the acceptable doctrines in Christianity. So for me, the first one was no template. So I took my dad's template in, and one minute we were best friends, and the next minute I was a man of the house. And I was like, and then all that man of the house, I'll just do flashback, pull out one of Popsy's lines, and then use it on somebody that is not my mom. And of course, there was resistance, but, it was weird because, she was young. She's not my mother. I'm not my father. But that was the template I came in with, thinking it would work, right? But then I quickly learned that, hey, you know what? This thing is like a fingerprint, right? So it's not anybody's template. There's no template anywhere. But there's one that I like. There's one I've come to realize that works. One template that I've realized that works. If you're an adherent of a structured religion, so I'm going to use Christianity, one template I've seen that can take you a long way is if both of you agree that this union will be put at the feet, say you're Christian, put at the feet of Jesus. So every decision you take, you consult the Bible, and both of you submit to something like that. And then if you're Muslim, Allah, or whatever else you believe in, right? When you have something higher than both of you that you get, and then it's also that template also works for what we call power couples. So there are couples that you would watch this movie. House of Cards. If you've seen House of Cards, you'd see that it was a good marriage because they submitted to the same values. So they had a template. So that could be a religion, as it were. They were not going to break up. They were going to the same place. As sick and twisted as they were going to the same place. So I want to say there's no template, but if you have to use a template, then it should be something that both of you submit to. So both of you like money, both of you are career people, both of you are whatever you believe in, you're Christian. So you submit to something like that. So that was one of the first things I learned in marriage. Second thing I learned that like 6-7 years into the marriage, was nothing beats honest communication, right? So the thing about honest communication is not that you're telling the truth or you're lying. You're just saying things exactly how it happened or exactly how it is. Now, how your partner interprets it is not really in your control. But if you're committed to being honest in what you say, over time, energy doesn't lie. I'm of that school of thought. Energy doesn't lie. Words lie, facial expressions lie, but energy doesn't lie. So if you're telling the truth has a self-validating energy. So eventually, though, it is what it is. It's the truth because you're always going to say it. So if you're committed to honest communication, both of you, I learned that as well, that it goes a long way. And then thirdly, I also learned that commitment to growth. So there are a lot of cliches of you have to be patient, you have to be, sorry, Funke, 1 second. So yeah, they say you guys have to be patient, you have to be tolerant, you have to be, but I see those things as tough learning points, you know? So what I've come up with in time is commitment to growth. So what that has meant to me is, I was a certain age 11 years ago. I wasn't this old. I didn't know this much. I didn't have these resources. So you have to forgive each stage for each other. So these were the silly things we did at this time. Now we are here now. Am I going to grow? So I made 10 mistakes this year in this union. The important thing is that next year I don't make 10. I'm only allowed to make 9. I'm only allowed to make 8. So if I'm committed to growing in a certain direction. So back to my first point about using my dad's template. I mean, so down the line, I've actually gone to seek out mentors that align with the kind of life I want to live and the kind of union I want to stay with. And I've been lucky to find 1 or 2 that resonates, and they're older. So what marriage has taught me in this time is, it gets hard. And I'll take a cue from Kumbe. Things are not always going to be your best friends. So the seasons are going to come. And it's going to be valley, mountain. And because you're committed to honest communication and committed to growth, you'd go.
Lucas. Okay, so I think probably there's a network glitch with his at his end. So Babs, can we have you? Babs, can we have you? Okay, so I think it's really like a network. Okay, Babs, can we have you? Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
And then Lucas.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. How long was I away? I don't know where to continue.
For like 50 seconds thereabout.
Okay, I don't know where I stopped, but I was saying that just like you were saying.
We're talking about seeking out mentors that has been able to help you.
I've sought out a couple of them and I've been lucky to find one or two. And then to cue what Kumbi said about love being a decision, I don't even use, I'm not so, I know that love should lead, but something more practical, because I'm a very developmental person. I have a huge desire to see things grow, right? So I always ask myself, what can you teach people? So people that want to get married now, what can you teach the man immediately that he can use? So I've realized that regardless of gender, everybody wants to be respected, everybody wants to be heard, you know? And I've seen that with time, respect trumps love, because the butterflies are going to die later in your 30s, the bills are going to pound up in your 40s, and then in your 60s, you guys are going to be alone. So, you know, you got married at 30, the children are going to go at 55, 60. So you guys were alone before 30, you're going to be alone after 60. You better make sure that after 60, the person you're alone with is your friend, and that you've not used 30 years to make enemies, and then she'll just japa, or you just tune out. That's why most men just die of boredom, loneliness, because they've used 30 years to alienate the woman, and in their 60s, she finally, Kumbi has just said it now. Kumbi said she's not up for divorce. A lot of women are not up for divorce, but once they reach 62, it's not divorce, it's not go. They just go. And the man is just, I mean, and that time he cannot chase all those small girls. He can't do anything. He's just alone because he can't share so much. So those are the things I've learned.
Thank you for that. Babs, over to you.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach to this. I won't be speaking about the Bible so much because we also have some viewers who are not Christian. So I'm just going to take you from that societal kind of expectations and when it comes to marriage. So I'm going to be talking about 5 or a number of illusions or myths about marriage. The first one is marriage is meant to last forever, no matter what. So the emphasis is no matter what. So one thing I wouldn't tell everyone for free is marriage is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful concept. The companionship is great. The sex is great. Raising the kids, of course, is all of that. I totally get all of this, but the illusion that no matter what, your marriage should last forever. So, like I said, I'm going to take a slightly different approach. That's not correct. I don't agree with that. Every marriage should last forever. So, in a marriage where you're getting abused emotionally, physically, you're not developing, you're being subjugated, you're being suppressed, you're not living a life anymore. Of course, you should walk away from such marriage. It's utter nonsense if you think marriage should last forever, no matter what. So, like I said, the emphasis should be no matter what. So, if you're having a good time in your marriage, of course, no one is going to tell you to leave it. If marriage is not a bed of roses, of course, but when it gets to a point when you know that this isn't what I stand in for, of course, feel free to seek help. If that doesn't work, then you should divorce. Fights and disagreement are a part of a healthy marriage. I get disagreement, and I get every once in a while you have a debate. But when you're constantly bickering, when you're constantly fighting, when you press the toothpaste from the middle, when that becomes a problem, when your sleepers is a problem, when you begin to irritate each other, I mean, you literally moan and fight every inch of the way. You need to get help. If you get help and that still isn't working, that is not help. Anyone that says, oh, having a difficult time, having a regular fight and settling in, make up sex, oh, those are hallmark of good marriage. No, darling. Those just signify or typifies that your relationship is struggling. You either need to get help, you need to pray more to God or get professional help, or you might be looking to stop that as well. Staying in the dysfunctional marriage is a sign of inner courage and strength. That is another rubbish. So people go like, oh yeah, you have to stay there. You have to fight for your place. Okay, so there's this man that comes home drunk every 12 midnight, beats the living light out of you. The next morning he just gets stressed or probably just, is irresponsible. He's a tongue-speaking brother, speaks in tongues and gossip and all of that. But he's lazy, he's irresponsible. Or you have a sister, you have a wife who oh, she loves God and she does all the nice things and stuff. But her mouth, her tongues, her sabers, she tears you down, kills your self-confidence as a man. She compares you to Dangote all the time, or she compares you to some stud she saw somewhere all the time. She kills you slowly. And then you're telling me that you're showing strength by staying there. So again, like I said earlier, I'm up for getting help. I'm up for getting professional help, spiritual help. But if those don't work, you need to reconsider your position. So if anybody saying that you're showing strength, people have shown strength and died because of it. There's a lady recently, is Sinach? Sorry, what's the woman's name? Funke.
Osinachi. Osinachi.
Yeah, she was strong in the marriage. She was strong in the relationship, and she died from it. I hope she makes heaven, because that would really, really be sad. And then, flexibility is the core virtue to make a marriage work. I'm up for that. Like, we should work on our relationship. Oh yeah, we should deliberately work on it. But what about if is one party working on it and the other one just couldn't really be bothered? I mean, every time there's a problem, I am the one that always tries to sue for peace. I'm the one that tries to make it up all the time. So like Lucas said, energy. So I'm getting 5% energy from you. I'm putting in 95% energy from you. At some point, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. So can't you work together except they agree? No. So if you're saying that we should be flexible, you're always trying to cover up for things, what if the other person is not doing the same? So you're all alone. I've heard things like internet saying things like, oh yeah, maybe you're just in a relationship with yourself. Maybe you're just married to yourself. So if you don't have all of these things, or you don't have that working relationship interdependency, then you can't tell me, oh, I'm just being flexible, I'm just letting things go. And you're going to be walked over for the rest of your life. Sorry, I'm going to digress a little bit. The cultural interference with the biblical definition of marriage has to be stopped. So the cultural interference that also favors patriarchy in marriage has to be stopped. That's why I said I'm going to digress a little bit. So all of these things that are not necessarily in the Bible, but people think because it sounds like it's in the Bible, then maybe it's in the Bible. So there's so many things like that. Till death do us part. We say that a lot in churches and all of that, but I really have searched. Maybe Lucas can help me. Maybe Kumbi can help me. Till death, I really would like to see where that is in the Bible as well. Till death do us part. Why you will want to die in a marriage that's not working? So these are me as well. But the last time, don't be truthful at all times. So there's some things you think, when you say them, you're going to hurt your partner. And then you decide, I'm going to go for the easy route and not say the truth. Darling, my husband, you are lazy. Maybe you don't want to say it like that. Maybe you want to tell him, do you want to be a little bit, you want to have a bit of drive? You want to reach out to your friends? You want to, we need to live better. The kids need to go to a better school. But rather than saying this, you're submitting to your husband. Oh, submit to your husband, worship you. Oh, my darling, you're the best. He's not the best. He's a lazy man. He doesn't want to work. Oh, babe, my wife, you have a bad mouth. Don't speak to our son like this. Don't do this. But rather than say all of that, we want to do everything the right way. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to do this. When truth and effective communication is not in any marriage, the marriage is done. There's really no marriage. If you can't tell me as a man that, guy, you're drinking too much, guy, you're too violent, guy, you're too vulgar, don't speak like that to people, or you're an angry person, and I can't tell you, that's not the way to do this. You need to do a little bit more. You can't do this and you can't do that. But because I just want everywhere. The Bible says, if it's possible, be at peace with all men. Charity, people think charity begins at home is actually in the scripture. Boo. Anyways, so these are the things I was talking about earlier when I said that the societal interference, popular saying, we shouldn't mesh them with scriptures and let them just distort what marriage really is about. So a lot of things that people think showing that you're a good person, a good man or a good woman is to be taking abuses at home. That is not you doing God's wishes in your life. Like, I mean, God will never even want anybody to abuse the other person. God will want you to be patient, but God will not want you to die being patient. All right? Don't let me overflog it. I'm sure we'll still talk about this some more. Thank you.
Thank you all for thank you all for that. So now human beings are not simple. We have different forms of complexities, right? So having two of such people in a forever journey requires a lot of work. So can we talk about the work accommodating each other's differences in marriage?
I think I want to go, so it's not monotonous, right?
Okay.
Let me. I'm not sure the word is accommodating, right? I think that, and I'm going to write off Barb's societal construct and societal pressure thing. If you married, when I saw Rita Dominic getting married 3 weeks ago, I felt good. I felt good. I felt euphoric, sort of, that at 46, he chose to get married. And I'm choosing my words very carefully. If a lady, a senior lady at 46, can choose to walk down the aisle, then she must be doing it for all the right reasons. And this is not religious at all. So she must have thought of Rita. Everything she did was because it made sense to Rita, and she said yes. And one night, when I was talking to a friend of mine, I said, this marriage had better not break up, because this marriage is the right thing. So at her age, she must have seen everything, and then she chooses to get married, right? So I'm like, if your marriage should be done for you, it shouldn't be done for any of the reasons that Babs is trying to break. It's not, don't get married because it's time to get married. Don't get married because your biological clock is ticking. Don't get married because it's on your to-do list. And most especially our African girls, don't get married. Don't get married because after school, the next step is marriage. Or don't get married because of your parents. So the word accommodates, I'm not sure it's the way I want to use it. Well, how I want to use it is, if we've been together, I read something that Judy Dada wrote, very, very mind-numbing stuff, where he was asking a lot of questions about why do we need to tie each other under the umbrella of marriage to stay committed to each other? Why can't I be completely committed to you, you committed to me, without you picking my father's name, without us? I mean, by commitment, it means I'm not cheating on you, I'm with you. However, I'm just not bound by some paper. It's not defined by. So when you say accommodate, if something flows naturally, we were friends, we fell in love, we are adults, we have where we are going, and it just made sense that the butterflies are there, the vision is there. Above all of that, there's respect. And if we are given to any creed, whether it's religious creed or natural creed or psychological creed, we submit to that kind of creed. If that is the place where we decided to get married from, I'm not sure it will be accommodating you. It will be just a natural flow. And I've seen one or two people. I mean, I don't live in their house, but on the outside, and I'm projecting this, and I'm taking liberty to project what I see on the outside to the inside. If what I see on the outside is what's on the inside, and I know some people are in love like that, then it's not really about learning these things that Babs is saying. It will just come naturally. Like, it will be natural that if I find that I'm lazy as a guy and I'm with a woman and we need more resources, because of her, I would go and do more. I won't have to wait to be told. And even if she would need to tell me, she would know how to say it naturally. So I'm not sure if the word is accommodate. I think it's just, if we follow the natural path, and I'm using Rita Dominic as a template, that if at 46 you can decide to do it, then you should be getting a lot of it right, especially in the place of companionship. Because for me, there are 3 seasons really. There's the butterfly season, which is pre-marriage into the first year or so. Then there are the children age, when the children are around, a very different dynamics from when we started. And then recently, about a year ago, I started to think seriously about when the children leave. My friend calls it the years of the empty nest. I think that's how she put it. I think there's a concept like that called the years of the empty nest. So we're talking 55, 60, 65. So I started to think about post 60, especially as a guy, that I should make sure I don't damage the children years and then suffer in the post 60 years. So we need to pay a lot of attention to when the children are around, not to destroy when the children leave.
Thank you for that.
Okay, sorry, I will need you to please take that question.
Okay, so the question is, human beings are not simple. We have some form of complexities. Now, having 2 such people on a forever journey definitely requires a lot of work. Can we talk about the work of accommodating each other's differences in marriage?
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Lucas. So first of all, I think one of the things we don't do when we get married is understand the kind of personality the person has. Another thing we don't do is understanding their love language. So if you're coming from a background where your mom shows love, maybe cooking and serving and cleaning and slaving and not talking and everything, and you bring it into your marriage where maybe to the man, a woman must speak out or speak up or, do whatever and not be a doormat, they're going to have issues. So we don't, I think that's one of the things I probably learned late into my marriage about our differences, our, love language. So if my own love language, for example, is acts of service, giving of gifts and touch, personal and physical touch and all of that, for someone like my husband, it's maybe acts of service or, just doing your part, just play your part, like, that kind of thing. We had a lot of clashes because I didn't take time to understand him. Another thing that was very important that I think Lucas mentioned was the issue of mentorship. And in my own case, in a very unique way, I sought mentorship from men and not from women, because I wanted to understand him better and understand what he's saying. So I came to understand something like, if my husband is saying, now you're not home by this time, where did you go now? Why now? This and that. He's actually trying to tell me he's missing me. He needs me around, but just doesn't know how to put it together. I learned that from a man. I learned to understand the language my husband was speaking from a mentor, a male mentor. I think another thing is knowing how to state our displeasure. Knowing how to state our displeasure is very, we've gone from the days of not talking to each other, and, shouting at each other and doing all of that, to being able to have those difficult conversations in a respectful manner at the right time, in such a way that the message is passed and no one's ego is bruised. I found that, it works better that way when it comes to understanding. So rather than saying, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this to me, I say, I feel this way because of what you did. He may not know what he's done or how I feel about the way he said it. But when I don't come with that, you did this, you did that, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, naturally we'll be defensive when someone approaches it that manner. So knowing when, knowing how to put that forth, I found it's very, very important. So I wouldn't necessarily say accommodate, because I'm not doing that to accommodate. No, we're doing, like I said, and I will still stand by it, we're doing this for life. And I kind of had an idea of what I was getting into when I got married, and that's why I'm willing to stick by it. I want to be a person of my word. It's me, it's just me. It's just me. And it's further formed itself based on the relationship I have with God. I'm not going to throw my religion away to sound cool or sound, it's just me. It's what's working for me. It's what has helped me this far. Is by being a person of my word. If I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, right? I'm learning that, and I'm hoping somewhere he's learning that as well. But so far, so good. Glory to God. I mean, we're together, happy, and fulfilling purpose. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Babs.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to the issue of accommodating, well, you can use that word for some things, and then you can also decide that the word is not like good enough to describe how you coexist or cohabit with your partner. So living with somebody entails quite a number of things, and when you start to accommodate people or you start to tolerate them, it sounds tedious to me. It doesn't sound like the correct thing. So if you're accommodating people or you're tolerating them, it gets to a point where you can no longer do it as a human being. You get tired of actually moving for them, shifting for them. You get tired of actually giving excuses for them. So, which is why they say things like you should marry your best friend, you should marry people that you really are very close to, that you can be together for the rest of your life. If you ask me, anyways, the first thing, the most important thing for me, butterflies in your tummy is almost like
Bob's network is bad.
Yeah, Babs, your network
Babs,
is
you are
really
breaking
bad.
off. We can't
You're
hear you.
breaking up.
You might have to relog in.
Can you hear us?
Oh, Babs,
Maybe
you're breaking. We can't really hear you.
he
We
can't hear
can't
you
hear
anymore.
anything
Maybe you
at
should
all.
remove it and come back.
All right, so let's quickly go to the comments section. We have a lot of people dropping their comments, so let's welcome them and then hear what they have to say. So we have Solomon saying, hey, hi, thank you for tuning in. So we have Pedigree Project, we are here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Adeomi saying this will be very good, different perspectives already. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Olufun Lola Motai saying, interesting discussion, full house, welcome to Swagger's Lifestyle. Thank you so much. We have Omonze saying, this makes sense, Kumbi. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Adeomi saying,
you guys actually.
You can never be too prepared. Babs,
Okay,
are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Babs.
Babs, you can't hear you.
Okay, Babs, you can't hear you.
Is it better now?
Just a bit of delay. We can hear you now.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Okay, where is that coming from?
Aderonke's iPhone.
Aderonke. Who is that? Who is? Okay. Please, can we take out Aderonke? We're supposed to be like 4 here, so I don't know who Aderonke is. So please, could you leave this, please, or can you mute your mic? Wow, who's that? Okay, so we apologize for the interference.
I think you should mute the other people.
Yes. Let me try. Wow, we have a lot of people here.
We have 2 extra people.
Yes, her table and the paparazzi table. Can you record those for me? Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we have a lot of people joining in. We have a lot of people joining this Zoom link. Please, can we take... Oh, wow. I really apologize for this. Please, Aderonke, can you please mute your mic? Okay. All right. So
I'm back in. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
we
So let me just quickly, I'm actually taking the comments from the our
Right.
live audience. So when I'm done,
Okay,
then you
cool.
continue with, yes, what you're saying. So we have Adeomi
Okay.
saying, mentorship, you can never be too prepared. We have Candy saying, there is no manual for marriage, but two things that really help to make the journey a lot easier is communication and comprehension. Thank you so much for that, Candy. So we have Candy saying, vibes don't lie, definitely. And we have Omonze saying, nice, and she's clapping. Solomon is saying, honest communication. Omugo Ministries, and when the women leave for Omugo. So Candy is saying, totally agree, Babs. It should last forever when both parties are happy and content with the marriage. Off point, whatever Babs is drinking, I want some. So, Babs, I think you have to share what you're drinking with Candy. So we have Nifemi Pagbo saying thumbs up. Thank you, Nifemi, for tuning in. We have House of Jamila saying, interesting discourse, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have Nifemi saying true, and she's laughing. We have Ayo saying, yep, you can learn a lot as you go. And then we have Nifemi clapping, and we have Fumilayo okay saying, Lulu, thank you so much for tuning in. And we have Victor saying, lovely conversation. Thank you so much. And we have Moritala Miriam saying, well done, Gbogbo Swagger, for putting this program together. I am learning a lot. Thank you so much for the feedback. And please, if you have any question, drop it in the comment section and we'll take your question. And for those people that are joining our community today is the first time that you're here on our live session, click on the subscribe button. We have wonderful content here that you could actually go back and watch and listen to that would help you. And I like to say welcome to this community. You would definitely love it here. So please subscribe, and also at the end of this session, kindly share this video with your community and with your network. We need to send out the word and get the message out. So back to you, Babs.
All right. Okay. So I was talking about what tolerating or having to live with something you're not entirely pleased with. So I said, first thing first, if you ask me, the most important thing before you get married to anybody is not even love to me, if you ask me. The first thing, the most important thing is respect. All right. So I'm not talking about the respect of Boda, auntie, uncle, that sort of thing, or sticking your head in the ground, and that's not what I mean. What I mean is love is a lot of things, but most importantly, love is respect. Love is respect when it comes to individuality. Like, this is the person I'm getting married to. This is what the person is. Before you get married to anybody, you've had the time to do the courtship period. Usually, if you ask me, I usually don't recommend anything less than 2 years. I know a lot of people are going to not agree with that. That's fine. It's just my own opinion. Because the first couple of months when you've met anybody, like a friend of mine will say, it's that campaign period. So during the campaign period, you're of your best behavior. You're well dressed, you're well spoken, you're doing dinner, you're doing movie, you're doing a lot of campaign, both sides. The girl is, all up in your face, being the perfect partner and all of that. Once the campaign period is over, once the butterfly starts to quieten down a little bit, then you start to see the real person that's within. Is the person an angry person or not? Or when I'm angry or when I'm upset, do I lash out at my partner? Do I try to respect my partner, their feelings, and a bit of other things as well? So, I mean, the most important thing to me to live with anybody, it is that respect. And it is not the respect of uncle and daddy and all of that. It is the respect of the individuality of the person. This person is different from me. This is what this person wants. This is the kind of career this person wants to go into. This is the way this person likes to dress. So during courtship, you have the opportunity to see all of these things. So there's no way you can see all of these things, get married to the person and try to change those people. It is evil. It is evil. It should never be allowed. In the name of love, changing for people should never be an option. It should never be on the table. So there won't be a need to tolerate them. There will not be a need to accommodate them. You've seen who you're getting married to. You've seen who you want to spend the rest of your life with. So you're mainly just living together as guy, party. There's no time your sense of dressing offends me because that is what I've always known you with. There's no time your humor offends me because we've been through all of that already. There's no way, oh, you press toothpaste in the middle, or I'm not saying. Well, I'm just giving an example of that. So basically, respect is the most important thing for me, so that you don't have to tolerate or accommodate anybody.
I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something about.
All right.
If you don't mind, I wanted to say something about, and it's concerning the last one. So I totally agree with you. I'll choose respect over love, but I mean, it's probably topic for another day.
Yes, it's topic for another day.
So, but when it comes to change, I've realized that people do change, and people do change for people, right? Or people do change for themselves, regardless of how you put the narrative. People change. So at the end of the day, I came up with three things that I think any young person can use. You guys have to come, like, I don't know if it's 2 years, 6 months, but I see how you may have come to 2 years, because ideally two progressive people should be able to check a few things. And I was going to say something about, hey, people have met and married in 3 months and their marriages lasted forever. But the truth is, was it quality or just quantity of time? Mm-hmm. So here's what I was going to say about the 2 years, right? I was going to say that, first of all, during that campaign period, we need to commit ourselves to a creed. I don't think I can stop saying that. If you're a Christian, it's the time to say, look, these guys' decisions or this woman's decisions, are they guided by Jesus? If you're Muslim, is it Allah? If you're a career person, are these people's, is it guided by capitalism? Is it guided by, whatever creed you believe in? The campaign period should be, those are the deal breakers. You understand? Like me, every young lady I've met that said, I'm looking for a God-fearing man, I've always just thought they were silly. God-fearing man is a template I can assume tomorrow. I can become God-fearing tomorrow. I know what to do. You understand? I know exactly what to do to check all the boxes of God-fearing. Because what you want to see is, I can pray, I can scabash, I go to vigil, and then once in a while, we have sex and I feel sorry. It's enough for you to think I'm God-fearing, But where I'm going is, you need to commit to a creed at that time. And then you need to also check that, look, this person, he might be silly, he might be stupid, he might be foolish, but what he says, is it true? Is it always true? You understand? Like, does he lie? Does he play games? Is he inconsistent with what he says? You need to find out if either person is inconsistent, and then choose to deal with that or help them grow out of it or not. And thirdly, this person is 27, 28, 29, 30. Has this person in these 2 years, and I'm inclined to agree with these 2 years. 2 years is enough to see growth pattern in somebody. It's enough to see that somebody can move from, you're not going to marry an angry man. But when you met him, he was a very angry man, maybe angry at level 100. But in 2 years, he's at 75. I can take that risk and say, look, this person has learned this, and it will only get better. This woman has learned this. So if you're committed to growth and you're honest in your communication and you guys believe in the same thing, then those chances are high. And it's not chances of a successful marriage. It's chances that this one life that you have and you're about to share 70% of it with somebody, you do it in joy. You'll be happy for most of it. So I'm agreeing, but I'm just trying to put a point to, I'm not sure if that's how you said it, but people do change for people. Given the state.
I am with you on that. I couldn't be sorry I'm taking a bit of your slot. So people change for people and all of that.
No, she even has a question for you.
I have a question for you.
That's a question for you.
Okay.
So Lucas said, what if the person changes for you? My question is, what if the person changes completely from your checklist? A 360 change from what you knew.
From your checklist. Okay.
deciding this was the person you were going to get
Right.
married to? What do you do then?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And that's reality.
I'll talk on what Lucas said first. So yeah, people change for different reasons. You can meet somebody who is like this today and change tomorrow for something else. But importantly, you can change. It is all right to change. Change is the only constant thing. But which is why I've been banging on respect. If you respect me and you're going to change to be anything, the question is, how does your change affect me?
Oh, true.
For example, now I am married to a lady, and suddenly I feel the urge to do a sex change. If I respect my wife, I wouldn't do that because obviously that starts to affect my wife. I am no longer able to perform my role as a husband. I'm not able to perform my role as a father. So if I respect my kids and I respect my wife, I will not change or have a sex change. So it's all right to change. For example, let me give another example. Say I love to drink or I love to smoke or something. And then suddenly, maybe I want to stop doing that, which is a good thing, by the way. But let's say I don't do that and I suddenly want to start doing it. The question is, what do these people think about it? Do I respect them? Does it hurt them in any way? Am I smoking in front of the kids and it puts their health as risk and all of that? These are the things I talk about respect. So talking about what Kumbi raised earlier on, it's a very valid question. If you're married to, you love something about a guy or a lady, and then suddenly there's a 360 change. Your husband was a driven guy, a career guy, a go-getter. The guy is up there and then doing everything. And then suddenly he loses the drive. Suddenly he doesn't want to do anything anymore. Suddenly he says, you know what, babe, I want to sell the house in Lekki. I want to travel the world. What do you do? Now, these, you remember what I said earlier on as per the illusions and myths about marriage. I know a lot of tongue-talking people on here, they're going to have a go at me for saying this all over again. But if a man or a woman starts to deviate heavily from what you married, and you can no longer deal with it, and it's affecting your spirituality, it's affecting your very essence, you have no business staying in the marriage. Okay, so the man says, babe, I don't want to do anything anymore. I want to sell off the property. I want to travel the world. And you go like, okay, what happens to the kids? They need to pay for school and all of that. I say, you know what? I don't care. This is what I need to do. You can no longer stay there. If you do everything in your power, you try to speak to him, you try to take him to church or his parents and everything. Of course, you need to ensure you stop him from selling the property and blowing it all on himself and leave you and the kids in limbo. So if you have to go to court, you need to go to court to stop such a man. So it's 360-degree change that affects your lifestyle, that affects the kids, that affects everything the marriage stands for. By all means, you have to disagree with that and you need to fight that by every means possible.
Okay, so I would like to say something now. Like I think I'll direct it to maybe the house. Now we know that as humans we evolve, even in marriage. So by the time you get to probably like 30, 40, you are not the same person and you are married to someone and you are evolving and you are changing. So that is why I brought about the difference in the difference in our complexities as human beings, because we change. And then on that flip side, what do you do at that point when you are married to this person? It's like, oh, this is not the woman I married. Maybe she has become better in this, or maybe midlife crisis, all of that. So all of these things happens to the best of the best. And then secondly, we all know that we are not perfect. So you are not a perfect person. You have your weakness and all of that. So how then do you deal with that? Because if you are saying you cannot take it, you are out. If you cannot take it, you are out. But you are not perfect. So even your partner, there are some things that you do that your partner necessarily do not like, but because they are committed to the marriage, they stay. So what can you say about those two scenarios?
Okay, if I may go first.
I want to say something.
Okay,
can you go ahead.
Okay, so thank you, because I was already thinking in that line, because everything just sounded more like, yes, we are important. I mean, we make the decisions because it's going to benefit us somewhat. But I also feel that sometimes we need to be more effective listeners. We need to spend time listening more. You see, before it degenerates to that point where you decide that, okay, you can no longer take it. Because we have to understand that time has elapsed between the person you married and that point where you're deciding, you know what, this thing is no longer working out. You know, there must have been signs. There would have been signs. There would have been communication that needed to have happened that was ignored. There would have been some listening. Sometimes people act out. Aderonke, please, can you mute? Sometimes people
I'm so
act out.
sorry. I didn't even know I was on there.
Thank you. So sometimes people act out because there's something going on with them. They didn't just change overnight. Something triggered it. And how attentive were we? I'm saying this because I'm trying to remove, how do I put it? I'm important, right? I'm important in the scheme of things, but I'm trying to take away myself from the equation, and I'm thinking of the other person too. Sometimes something may have triggered it. It could be a health issue they can't share. It could be something going on at work.
Kumbi. Okay, so her network. So Lucas, you were going to say something.
I was going to say this. If you think about it, the things that make you fall in love with someone is usually the fact that you can accommodate their nuisance. I'm telling you, it's one of the basic things. Like, so I think Kumbi was saying that we're not perfect. I'm not sure if it was Kumbi or you. That we're not perfect. Nobody wants to be perfect. Perfect is boring. Perfect is boring. There's nothing dynamic about perfect. So the fact that
I like that.
No, it is. A square or a cube is a very boring shape. It's a boring shape. It's crap. But here's what I'm saying, right? I've spoken to so many people, and I've shared some of my marital issues with my friends. They've shared with me, and sometimes you hear them talking to you, and you're like, I'm not sure that should cause a problem in your household. And they're listening to you, and they're like, I'm not sure that should be a problem in your house, because what you're describing is the type of nuisance they can accommodate. Maybe you can't accommodate it. At the end of the day, it's how did I want to put that? I was going to say, if the person who is changing, if you guys started believing in the same thing, committed to growing, and you guys have gotten to the place of very good communication, that change will be easy to navigate. Because it won't be a surprise. You see, there's the picture I paint in the beginning. See, Funke, there's nothing you cannot solve if you remove assumptions and repeat what the other person said as they said it. Do you understand? When in the middle of a fight, someone says something. You know, sometimes you are fighting and you want to get dirty, especially in the first trimester of marriage. If your marriage gets to 10 years, first trimester is like 3 years. So that first trimester, let me give you one gist there. I want to see a friend of mine. He stays in the BQ of the house. So I entered from the gate, and it's a 4 flat. So that first flat closest to the gate, as I was passing, I heard the man say, I'm the man of the house. Stop right there. I said, stop right there. I'm the man of the house. You know? So they were fighting. But those were the words I could pick before I got to the house. So when I got there, I said, who are the people that just moved into your compound? Their marriage is under 1 year. The guy is just there laughing. So now they got married like 3 months ago. I said, ask me how I guess that their marriage is under 1 year. I said, the man will say, I'm the man of the house. I'm the man of the house. So those are symptoms of first trimester. When you're thinking that it's by man of the house that used to run the house. You have not shown you Pepe yet that with all your man and everything, you still quietly enter your car and just go and pull up somewhere. So my point at the end of the day is, in that first trimester, as long as we are not making the same mistakes in the first 3 years as in the next 3 years and in the next 3 years, then there is growth. If we are committed to growth, situations like what can be described, it might be ailments, some sudden change, everything. Because we've been talking to each other and we've learned how to hear each other, and we've laced it with respect. In fact, we started with respect. So, Funke, you're here. I respect what you believe in. I respect your drive. I respect your person. You inspire me. You know, every time people quote Ephesians, that Ephesians chapter that men use as a weapon of mass destruction, every time they quote that line, I tell people, I say, women cannot submit to anything. Human beings submit to higher values. A man will submit to
Techno. Okay, so okay, yeah, I apologize. I just had like network glitch. Yeah.
No problem. So I guess I made my point. You can just take it from there.
Okay.
I also had a network glitch, I think.
All right. Babs, were you going to say anything concerning my question?
Oh yeah. What I was going to say is we are imperfect. We are perfect in our imperfection. We're made perfect in our imperfection. We, like Lucas rightly said, no one is perfect really, but anyone who is posturing to be perfect is just living in grandeur of self disillusion, because there's nothing like that. There's nothing like perfection. The daily work we put in to be the best of the best version of ourselves is what actually makes it worth it to continue living. Otherwise, if there's nothing to attain to be like or to aspire to be, then there's no point being alive anymore. We work on these things, but like I said earlier, we need to have some principles whilst we are in marriage. We need to have some principles that we live by whilst we're in marriage. Respect for me is one of the greatest things, and you wouldn't have to always see what the other person has done as something that directly influences or threatens your peace. I'll give an example. I think it was my brother that told me before I got married. He goes like, Babatune, it is not everything that happens in the house that you complain about. For example, now, we sort of like, world over, we assume that the kitchen is a kingdom. I don't mean it in a way like in a derogatory way. It's the kingdom of the lady. I mean, most times in every home, the woman is responsible for cooking and all of that. Not that men shouldn't cook, not that they shouldn't help in the kitchen. Feminist, I am not saying that women belong to the kitchen. So I'm just giving an example, all right? Okay, so she says, oh, I want this fridge to be here. I want the freezer to be here. I want this microwave oven to be here and all of that. What is the man going there to go and argue about, really? Like, I mean, why do you want to go and get involved in that debate? What are you doing there? In most homes, the man is responsible for car maintenance, things about cars. 8 out of 10 women are totally uninterested as long as it takes them from point A to point B. So if your husband is taking a decision about a car, it's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect the kids. It's not going to do anything to anybody. It's not going to alter your life in any bit. Why engage in that? Why do you want to drag on that one? So do not engage or drag everything. I totally get the individuality thing. It's 2022, equality. And meanwhile, equality is a myth anyway. Not even our fingers are equal. Not even men are not even equal. So equality is just nonsense. It's just a word that does not really exist. Anyways, so I totally get that. But there's some things that are avoidable. There's some argues in the house that are avoidable, totally avoidable. So whilst we're saying, oh yeah, we need to grow with each other, we need to go, there's so many things that are totally avoidable. I'll give you an example. So my wife started to watch Zero. There's a program she was, I think is Abby and I watched with her. Well, at some point I started watching with her because it was a way to go. So Abby and something, and that comes up at 9. So at some point, he clashes with maybe football matches and all of that. And then we had agreed before that we're not going to have more than maybe one TV or there'll be no TV in the room or something. Eventually, we had to get extra TV to accommodate other things as well. Again, if you can afford it and you have the opportunity, why do you want to create a situation where you're arguing over something that's totally avoidable? Like, oh, there's TV, I want to watch football, I want to watch Abby, just move to the next one and watch it. Again, you wouldn't have to accommodate anybody, you don't have to tolerate anybody, you just need to respect the fact that we agreed on this before, but something like that is changing. I don't really like watching Abby and Zero. I want to move on to something else. I want to watch something else. And just watch something else. If you can afford it, there's some things you don't have to get involved with. There's some debates you don't have to win. You absolutely don't have to win certain debates. Just let these things go. Anybody? Just let it go. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I really apologize concerning, like, we have a lot of network glitch today and I really don't know why, but I'd like to apologize for that. And let's take comments and then we'll continue with our conversation. So we have Sweet Oster saying, you said something about quality or quantity of time. That's really got to me. So I think that was Lucas mentioned that. So we have Pedigree Project saying unlearn and relearn. We have someone saying, taking premium notes, 100%. So we have Olabisi Osibajo saying, Osibo saying, sorry, Olabisi Osibo saying, well done, guys. I have a popular question. Would you suggest to tell a friend after finding out their spouse's secrets? Wow. So who wants to dive in first?
What's the question again, Funke?
The question is, so she said, well done, guys. I have a popular question. Would you suggest to tell a friend after finding out their spouse's secrets?
That's a big question.
Okay, so I think the question is, would you advise a friend if you find out, probably like your friend is a lady and you found out her husband's secrets, would you suggest to a friend after finding out their spouses? Okay, so Olabisi, your question I really do not understand.
No,
so I'm trying
I
to.
think I
If
kind
I
of
find my-
I get what Olabisi is
Suggest to a
saying.
friend after finding out their spouse's secrets.
Maybe if they're
If I
cheating,
find my wife,
something
my
else.
friend's wife cheating, will I tell him?
Okay,
That's the question.
I don't know if that is what she means.
Exactly.
That's what
she's
that's
saying.
what
Okay.
That's what she's saying. Olabisi is just saying that if you find out a secret about your friend's spouse, would you tell your friend?
Okay, all right. So over to you. That's the question.
I won't.
Who wants to answer? You won't.
I won't.
Okay. Baba, today you're laughing.
Actually, I wouldn't say I wouldn't. I wouldn't say I would. The first thing I'll consider is the maturity of my friend, the one that's involved. The maturity of my friend and how he or she is going to handle the situation. For example, if I have a friend who I know has anger problems, who I know is not matured enough to handle certain information. So if I find out that maybe there's something that I'm not supposed to say, or maybe something he doesn't know about his wife, or something she doesn't know about her husband, and I know that she's going to react in such a way that is destructive, I wouldn't say at all. But if the maturity is there, and I know that the person can handle with utmost maturity, the person is very deep spiritually, intellectually, then I can say to the person that, look, this is what I think is going on, and how do you think we can resolve it? And I know that the biggest question where Olabisi is going to is actually, I know one of the biggest things, the most celebrated sin of all time is cheating. Oh, somebody has a girlfriend, or has a side chick, or has a side boo, or you know that woman has another boyfriend outside her home. I don't know why that is the most celebrated sin, to be honest. It's just unnecessary sensationalizing of a particular sin. The Bible says all sins are the same anyway, but I know that's where the person is going. So yeah, if you find out things like that, you need to deal with the maturity of the person concerned. I know a lot of people, men and women, whose greatest sin to them is things that maybe you lie to them, or maybe you backbite, or maybe you stab them in the back or something. It's not even the cheating, because again, like I said, I don't know why that is the greatest sin of all time. I don't know why it's the most talked about sin and every other thing is ignored. I don't know why suddenly, if you don't cheat, then you're the best man in any marriage. Because I know a lot of men that don't cheat in their marriages and they're totally rubbish. They're irresponsible, they are lazy, they are abusive, they are toxic, but they don't cheat. So I don't know what women would like. I'm going to have to ask Kumbi this. Kumbi, which would you take? A cheating husband? Sorry, not your husband. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Before Oga looks for me, we're gone. Okay, so as a woman, what do you think the woman would prefer? A man that is not cheating, but that is totally irresponsible. A bad example to the kids. Not driven, just there, like you're just a guy that's existing, or a guy that's cheating that ticks all the other boxes. I don't know. I don't know why all the qualities are ignored for. Oh, he's not cheating, so he's a good man.
I personally don't think any woman would like her husband cheating. Even the women who, I'll say, in another religion that they know that their religion permits their husband to have more than one wife, are still not comfortable with their husband showing more affection to that. I don't think there's any woman really that likes to share her husband with any man. Then to the question that
I think
Olabisi asked, I won't tell my friend. If I have the opportunity to speak to the husband, I would. The only thing is I run the risk of him telling his wife not to talk to me anymore, painting me black and blue, defaming my character. That is what I run the risk as. If my friend now knows later that I knew and I didn't tell her, I have that one to deal with as well. So I would either say nothing or approach the offendee. The offender. I will approach the offender if I can, if I have that kind of relationship with the person, or I keep mum. Because I'm not going to make the situation better, because I'm sure that person is not ready to hear what I have to say, is not ready to deal with it, is not ready to act the way I would expect the person to act or whatever. So there are so many risks involved. So you need to apply wisdom. I like what you said about maturity. Maturity is important. But you have to consider, there's so many factors to consider. So I'd rather just speak with the cheating spouse, if I have that kind of relationship with that person, than speak with my friend.
Okay, thank you for that. So, Olabisi, I hope we've been able to answer your question. So we have Aya saying symptoms of first trimester, and she's laughing. And then we have Olakweju waving. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Okay, so like I said earlier, before my network decided to act up, I said I have a lot of questions on this conversation, and I know that we will definitely come back next month to continue and have a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4, because there's a lot of things to talk about. So before we go, I have one golden question before we wrap up this conversation for today, because we are definitely coming back on this topic. Now, sexual slack in a marriage, is it a bad sign? Is marriage all about sex?
Sexual what?
Slack.
Slack. Is that what you said?
Yes. Sexual slack in a marriage, is it a bad sign? Is marriage all about sex?
No, but those two sentences are not the same, though.
There are two different questions in one.
Sexual slack is a big problem in marriage, but marriage is not about sex.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the summary.
You have to have sex, a lot of sex in marriage, but marriage is not about sex. So I just wanted to put. There's no discussion on that one. It's straight. That's my own answer.
Okay.
That's my own answer. No plenty English.
All right. So Kumi,
I want the guys to speak before me.
Yeah, because now the guys are just trying to But we all know that when it has to do with the issue of sex in marriage, it's always the lady that has the problem. You did not. So. Yes, most times a lot of men attack their wife, and when it has to do with the big cheating, it's the lady that gets to take the bash. Maybe she's not. No. Maybe she's not. Yeah, it is. So
let me say something. Let me say something about this sex. Let me say something.
Okay.
No, let me say something about this sex thing. At different times, a man would come in 3 seconds or in 30 minutes. Regardless of the situation, a man will always come. Men will always enjoy sex. So let's first leave that one out of it. They will reach destination whether you want it or not. It's just some days you are lucky to have 3 minutes, 15 minutes, and some days it's giving you 3 seconds and there's nothing you can do about it. So let's establish that.
Okay, so Babs, over to you.
What did I say?
No, I'm establishing that so I can make a point. Can I make my point now?
Oh, yeah,
make your point.
Now, this is where the issue starts. If you know you are a 10 seconds guy, you now cannot say, I don't give head, I don't do foreplay, I don't do extra. You're already slacking in one area that is important. So go and learn the other areas while you are hoping the Gbogbo works. So you cannot be slacking in the main area and still be having democracy in other areas. Right? Go and learn how to do the other things. Because the thing is, the modern day woman knows that she has to get there. The only thing is, biologically, she does not get there every time. But a man is wired to get there every time. Men always enjoy sex. So let's be very clear. So sex is important first, but marriage is not about sex. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, Babs, over to you.
Oh, well, sex is very important in marriage. A few pointers. Sometimes it's from some of the things I'm about to say is from personal experience, and then some they're just things I know picked up along the way. So basically, sex is very important in marriage, marriage is not all about sex. But sex as well, like we all know that it has to evolve all the time. So there are chances that when you just started, or maybe when you just got married and you started to have sexual intercourse, we're considering or assuming that it's a Christian marriage and there's no premarital sex. So these are basic assumptions. But when you just start having sex with anybody, it's usually something you want to do all the time, right? You want to be with the person all the time. You want to do as much as you can, every opportunity you get. But at some point, it diminishes. That's the truth. it does diminish, especially when the sexual intercourse or the act of sex itself is not evolving. So I'll give an example. So after all that campaign period where you guys are always all up in each other's face, you can't keep your hands off each other, it gets to a point, it becomes routine. It becomes something that you have to do all the time. Like it becomes a chore. It becomes lethargic almost like. So if it's not evolving, you're not like Lucas said, you're not giving head, you're not changing stuff, the surprise, maybe role play, maybe you decide to try it out in the kitchen or anywhere else in the house and all of that. If it becomes regimental, there's obviously going to be regression. It's gotten to a limit where it can only come down. You start to see sex as a major job that you're not even willing to do. And as you're getting older, sometimes your libido might decrease. As you're getting more workload at place of work, as you're getting more stress. I'm talking of both the two parties involved, the man and the woman. So say your wife works in a high octane environment, she's going to work all day. Our boss has roasted her at work, and then you had shouted at her earlier, and then and then eventually she's lying down there, and then you just roll over and like, yo, she's going to look at you and like, are you joking? So obviously these has to be considered as well. So as you're getting older and responsibilities are getting more, you don't expect the same level of performance or willingness or libido from when you guys were young and free and without kids and all of that. So one of the unwholesome expectation in marriage is that the energy of when I was 22 should continue to when I'm 40 something, when I'm bothered about this, I'm bothered about that. And Lucas can confirm it. Most men, the libidos are connected to pockets, sometimes achievements, sometimes how well the business is doing. Permit me to say, not to offend anybody, most driven men have the libido connected to success in business and in their endeavor. The not less successful men are more likely not to think of anything, no social life. They get home and the only thing they think about is that's why they have more. That's why most times
You're absolutely
there's
right.
a part in that as well. But I can assure you,
You're right.
sir,
You're right.
yeah. So you can. I've gone all day. I've gone to work. Had all the meetings. Had another meeting somewhere. Sometimes you just get home and you're totally out of sort. Sometimes it's the woman that's out of sort. So wanting me to keep up the energy from 20 something to when I'm 40 something, when I'm feeding this person, I'm feeding that person. Sometimes you're just mentally tired. Like you can't even get it up. Like you really literally can't get it. But like Lucas said, you can compensate with other things. You can use your hand, you can use your mouth, you can mix things up a little bit. But I believe that couples should have concessions. They should think about what the other person is going through. It's never the same thing when you just get married till, as you're getting older, we should give concessions to each other. If not, that's going to be major because it becomes a case of, I am sure you're doing it with somebody else. You are no longer desirable to you. But I mean, like maybe Madam thinks, oh yeah, we're married and nothing there, and she starts to tie wrapper all over the place. And then you don't find that attractive anymore. The pants is not matching the bra is not matching the pants. There's no, everything is just not, something like that. Or you as a guy, you're beginning to drink, the belly is sticking out, you don't look trim and proper anymore, you don't even work out. They say come and do, you're just there, no energy, So it goes both ways. Like she's married a very fit young man. Suddenly you cannot even, you can't carry her anymore. You are expecting her to maintain a shape after 2 kids, and you are totally growing a belly. Let's maintain the energy for both sides. So yeah, I rest. Kumbi, over to you. I'm sure you're dying to attack this.
All right. So
it's easier for men to say that. What made me laugh was the matching brown pants. Let me just tell you now. Let me just tell you now, for anyone that's listening, it does not always match. Just know now. Sometimes you don't buy the bra where you bought the pants. So don't let anybody. It
See,
does
most
not
of the time
matter.
it's
You
done.
can get tailor
Most
to
important
sew.
thing
You can
is
get
that
the
it is
tailor
clean.
to sew.
No, I take offense. I take offense.
Sometimes it's torn.
Yes, the
Ah,
most important thing is that it's clean, because you people's
game
boxers
over.
don't ban
Okay.
elastic, one kind, thread, and we don't complain. We don't talk about it. So why would you say, so please, so far the brand, the pants are clean. You could go ahead and wear your underwear. So far it is okay.
Kobe, you sound defensive. What's the
I am
problem?
defensive. I'm
Kobe, you sound
defending my fellow
defensive.
women. It's not easy
You
to
sound
carry something on your
defensive.
chest. Then you now finally put it inside bra. Then somebody say it's not matching. There will be problem. There will be war. Thank you. I digress. So thank you for all the points, because you guys really touched on all those very important things. That's why it will still take us back to healthy communication and how we, communicate with one another. The truth of the matter is that sex isn't just for procreation alone. We know that it also helps to build intimacy and all that. But sex is also a journey. And along the line, there will be roadblocks like Babs and, Lucas mentioned, work, health issues, all of that and all that. Communication is very important, because you can also seek other ways for intimacy. And I'm not talking about the maybe oral sex and all of that. There are other ways that still make, sometimes for a woman, when a man is always turning her down without saying or giving the reason why, you stated the reasons. The next question is, are you communicating it effectively? You don't let the lady go dress up, do everything, wear the lingerie, buy expensive lingerie, and she wears it, and then you're already
stuff,
sorry by the time she comes. No, you have to have that. Yes, the matching one is talking about, the special one you're talking about, those risky ones that they use in tying people. She goes all the way, buys all of it. You don't have the conversation that nothing is
even godly, Kobe.
No, wait. No, I'm not talking about the one you're talking about. I'm saying some of them look like contraptions, and then she wears it, she does all of that. You don't communicate with her that, babe, today no show. Me, I always encourage, have code language. Have code language. If something is going to happen that day, me, I've told you on the phone in the code language. So you know that something must happen. And if peradventure you get home, Lucas, open your eyes. If peradventure you get home and nothing happens, communicate it in a very, nice manner that is received well and doesn't make.
How do you communicate when you're frustrated? Like, kai.
No, because Lucas said something which to me doesn't make sense somewhat. If you say, okay, he's stressed and all of that, and okay, you can't have sex, but you can do this, doesn't it arouse you? Won't you end up having sex if you engage in foreplay and all of that?
No.
So you're just.
I might need to correct something there. No,
sorry. That's what I heard though, and I don't know if anyone heard it as well. But that's what I heard.
That's what Lucas said. Probably maybe he did not mean it in literally.
No. Let me say it completely, if you don't mind. Let me put that properly. This is what I said. There are days when he gets up and it will do 15 minutes. There are days when he gets up and it's a 3 seconds day. Those days when it is 3 seconds, be prepared to do all the other things to get her there. That's what I said.
Okay, I get you now. Thank you for clarifying. So I think communication is very important. And also, I think some issues men have has to do with the time of the day. For women, no, I think libido increases as they get older. And it has nothing to do with the state of their pocket or anything. Women will find a way around it. Oh, yes. We will find a way around it. And men don't understand that part. They don't understand how our body works. Even when a woman is a day to giving birth, she is ready to go. And men don't know that part. Men feel, oh, we're going to hurt it. So sometimes during that period, women feel a little hurt because you are coming from the angle of, oh, I don't want to hurt the baby. And she's like, I'm yours, man. Take me, So if you're able to effectively communicate why you wouldn't have sex. Some men don't have, once a woman gets married, some men don't touch their wives. It's not a myth, it's true. For those 9 months, once she gets pregnant, yes, they do not touch their wives. In fact, they will not touch her for 1 year.
Yeah,
and they have a reason why.
Okay.
No, I'm just trying to say they have a reason why. So
Example.
they need to communicate it with the woman so she doesn't feel, during that period, hormones are high and all of that. Any small thing she's crying, any small thing she's upset. But if you're able to communicate that, we don't have a problem. This is where I'm coming from. Okay, you want it, but I'm just scared for the baby. Okay, can we do this? Effective communication is very important.
Fumbi, I have a question. I have a
Yes, sir.
question there. Yeah, it borders on a progressive mindset. So these men, because you sound like you understand these men that don't touch their wives during pregnancy. What is the reason? It cannot be because of the baby. You know why? Do you know why it can? No. Okay, so you said something about the baby. It can't be.
So for some people, some people,
the wife might
several.
She might have had like
a
waiting process before.
They may have waited for years.
Finally, conceived and all of that. So.
Finally, something happens. The baby girl has forgotten what she went through. She does not remember.
I guess communication solves this, right? Communication solves this. Because I was going to say something to men. I'm not sure when Funke is rounding up, but I was going to say something about sex, even though this is not about sex. I think men should come to a conscious understanding that this porn star reality is not true. Nobody is trying to win a match, especially if you're married, and especially if you've crossed that first trimester stage. Don't try to win any match. You understand? Allow yourself to do what that day has brought and be open to adventures. Be open to having sex in very weird places. Be adventurous. And then also, I've told as many as possible, you have to also understand that now that women know that they can also orgasm, then your job is also to get that there, since your own will come anyway. Either way, hand, mouth, whatever, your own will still shoot out. So you need to now go and learn how to go and get her there so that there is no fight at the end of the day. Now, the fight can be, I did not come during the main act. I came after. The point is everybody's on reach. We are fine. So men need to
can you use the proper term? This that you're saying, can you use the proper English?
Orgasm.
It's a mouthful. I usually mix that one.
You have to say it. It's what it is. Thank you.
I'm saying it. So
okay.
I wanted to put that there before we go around.
Thank you.
So Babs, over to you.
So we literally can keep going on about marriage and sex, and we can just talk about it for 3 days. But like I said earlier on, I still maintain my position about. Well, one important thing is that both Lucas and Kumbi said there's communication. How if it's not working, it's not working. If I don't like this part of it, I don't like this part of it. I love to kiss. I don't like the way you kiss. I can teach you if you're teachable. This is how to kiss me. This is how to touch me and all of that. Again, I don't know. We haven't really talked about this. I think women a lot of times are happy with maybe cuddles and just there, and maybe men are sometimes just ready to.
The network has been horrible on all fronts.
Yeah, the network has really been. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to ask what a bonus question right now. So earlier, Babs talked about spicing it up, like when you just got married, you guys were on at each other.
Vision comes to play as well. But
you might need to mute him. Okay, he's here now.
Okay, yeah, we lost you for not lost you like that. With your network had like a
yeah, ask your bonus question.
Okay, so my bonus question is now, Babs, while you were talking earlier, you said how when newlyweds, they're always at each other's, not each other's throats, they're always like there's intimacy and all of that, and then over time, there's a lot of diminishing returns and all of that, but you need to spice it up. Now, at the point where you want to spice it up and you're bringing things that your partner is not comfortable with, at that point, what do you do?
Again, yeah, and like we've talked about, I hope you can all hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're struggling a little bit, you're struggling with maybe being interested and all of that. We've all been there before. I've been there before. There are times I'm totally just uninterested. Like I am totally focused on something else and I'm totally uninterested. Another time I know that there's a bit of diminishing in sexual activity around the home is when you have a lot of friction. So if you argue and in our argument, I've said some really hurtful things to you, and then at night, I've heard some couples say things like, oh, it's my conjugal right. Even you can be fighting with me all you want. When I'm ready and I want to take things, I take it. For a lot of women, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like a woman has to be mentally
I agree.
aligned with you for her to even let you come close to them. When she knows be seeing a person with the pain on you, she understand. For some men as well, I'm one of those men. If I'm not happy, or I am not happy with you, you can't literally, I won't even let you touch me. Like, I mean, I literally don't even want you around me. Talk less of you wanting me to come on. Being uninterested in sex is not just about work, chores, and all of that. If you're having a lot of friction in the house, there will be less sex. Even if you're not openly fighting with each other, if you can pass comments like, "Oh, you look beautiful today," "Oh, I love your dress," "Oh, your hair really looks nice." The playful jab hugs there. "Oh, I love you, babe." "Oh, I miss you." Calls, send lunch to your wife or your husband, and things like that. These are ways to prepare the mind. These are ways to sort of like prime the other party. Like, look, there's a bit of intimacy. If your own is just to get home and you say, "Oh, Jimmy is my husband, anytime I want," I'm sorry, Kumi, but a lot of women also do the same thing they accuse the men of doing. "Oh, he's a man, he will look after himself. You can't send lunch to him. His BYC t-shirt you buy for him every Christmas and everything." The man is feeling unappreciated and all of that. And he thinks, oh, every time it's just offshore and say, "Oh yeah, it's my conjugal right. You didn't do this yesterday, you didn't do this today, you couldn't even make me come." It's not going to put any effort because you don't rate it. You're talking to him like it's some security man, say, Babatune Alpha. Or maybe just say, "Lucas, what is happening?" It has the way you speak to your husband. There's a way you prime people. There's a way you prime your partner. You prime your partner to let them feel special. So when they see you, what's the name of that hormone? The feel good hormone. There are ways to stir things up. There are ways to stir things up. All right. Okay. So if sex is not really happening in the home, it has to be investigated. So it's not really just about, oh, I don't have money in my pocket. That plays a part. It might not be just because you're tying wrapper around the house. It might just not be. It might be that the argument is too much. You have arguments all the time. You're arguing over the color of clothes. You're arguing over the color of beddings. You're arguing over you're just, everybody's mourning. The energy around the house is totally antagonistic. No one is going to be having any great sex around that kind of area. Nobody. So diminishing in sexual activities can actually be traced to a lot of factors. Again, maybe that's another topic for another day. But these factors have to be explored before we conclude that, oh yeah, this is what is going on, this is not what is going on. Women naturally will respond to how you treat them before they can sleep with you, or before they can be ready, or let's put it the right way, before they can be wet or horny for you. It starts here. It starts in the head first. Once you can't get into the woman's head, forget it. You're not getting any action. Even if you get any action, she's just going to lie down there and then let you do whatever you want to do and get off. Arrest.
Thank you for that. Any other person wants to add to that?
I think Babs nailed it.
Yeah, he nailed it. Communication. Yeah.
Communication
is important. Then sharing your expectations. Yeah, it still borders down to communication.
We should all be open to learning. There's nothing like I came as a champion porn star. You can't teach me. It's our body. She knows
Can I
her
say
body.
something? Can I
Please
say
go ahead.
something? Because you're right, and it has to do with what you just said, learning. There was
Yeah.
a day I was looking for how to spice things up, and I knew that I didn't want to watch porn. I wasn't going to watch porn. I said, how will I do this matter? Because I'm one of those people that does not know how to dance certain dances that are raining because my brain and my body doesn't know work. So I found this amazing lady on YouTube who so when I say demonstrate, she's not maybe with
She's
another
not
person.
vulgar. She's
She's
not
just, no,
vulgar.
she's not, yeah, but she's telling you how your body should move and all of that. I learned some interesting things and I tried it and I got a good appraisal. Like, I think self-appraisal is very important. Really, what am I doing? And I even ask, even with our spouses, we should do an appraisal. What should I do more? What should I do less of? What would you like me to try? So far, it's not what does not,
But Kumbi,
yeah.
you see, these are the things we're talking about, right? So, Babs, how long have you been married? Babs, okay, so how long have you been married? 7 years. So it's cool, right? 7 is about the time when, yeah, so that's great. 7 is about the time when surprises no longer jump out at you. You're done with your second trimester. Some things are learned, some things are solid, right? So some of these things Kumbi is talking about is probably learned close to year 10, right? Where you're finally at home with, this is how we should have this conversation. This is what I want. The coyness, the shyness, all that is gone now. You're learning, you're growing. So if you've committed from beginning to good communication and growth, it's inevitable that you come to what Kumbi just described. Because I always find it weird. Like when people tell me some problems they have in marriages, the first question I ask everybody is, how long have you been married? So if you're in that 1 to 3, I know what to tell you. If you're in 1 to 7, if you're in 3 to 7, I know what to tell you. If you're above 7, there are some things that will happen if you're 10 and I'm like, are you people serious? Like, are we joking? What have you been doing with all your time? Do you understand? So this thing Kumbi is saying is so funny because we all should be committed to learning and saying what we want, what we need to say, how we need to say it, and properly said. Because if you have done 10, then forever looks closer than, forever looks close. So if you've done 10, you get. I wanted to just corroborate Kumbi's story.
Okay, thank you for that. So we have some comments. So Victor is saying the best advice, speak with a cheating spouse. From experience, the person being cheated on most times doesn't want to know and would hold you responsible if anything happens to their marriage. So I think that's this response was for Olabisi's question. So we have Ayo saying correct Kumbi with smiley faces and love-struck smiley faces. So Olakweju is saying be clean, brush your teeth. Nothing like love conquers all with morning breath.
Very important.
So that goes to the men and to the women. Don't probably when you just, when you just early in the morning, you just woke up and you just straight to dive at your partner with, your breath. So go and brush your teeth. So we have a pedigree project saying, oh my God, and she's clapping. So that was when we were having the conversation. And she said, it must match or laughing out loud. So she's also, I don't know if it's a man or a woman. So pedigree project is saying, never stop dating. So dating is is quoted. So like what you're saying, on the other side, there are some that have had miscarriages because of rough sex in the first trimester. So that is when we're talking about there's some men that don't touch their wives when they're pregnant. So we have Emmanuel Tonte. Hi, thank you for tuning in. So he's saying, Olapeju is saying, it still boils down to communication to understand what will make your partner interested and not what we think they would like. So communication. So Olapeju is saying BYC t-shirts and she's laughing. She said, justice for the men. Don't you guys like BYC t-shirts? So we have Babaside Kokola saying, is there any effect for an individual who had a clean, beautiful experience and didn't do much of dating and has not broken his or her virginity, coming across a spouse with opposite youthful experience in marriage?
Communication.
Question for you.
Communication. If you guys talk, if you guys are honest, you can solve it. Communication, and be honest about it.
And be willing to teach. I don't know.
Look, it's not all about communication. Be willing to teach. So you have experience. The other person doesn't have experience. So it's not about match up. It's about you teaching.
But I don't know, because if somebody will argue and say be willing to learn, at the end of the day, it's communicating effectively. The person who doesn't know should be willing to say, babe, you know this thing more than me. How do we go about it?
What if the person cannot say that? Okay, now let's bring it down to Christianity. Yeah. So there are some conversations that in Christianity it's not like it's difficult to have between spouses. It's like, should we say some certain things? Should we not say some certain things, and all of that? So in what's it called, in that kind of scenario, what then do you do where you feel that there's some certain things that you are doing that is wrong? You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. I'm going to
help you out. Okay? Let me help you out. Oral sex. Let me just help you. Since you are
no, this is PG.
PG bow.
So well, you all get where I'm coming from. So at that point, how do you help that spouse? So it's not about the spouse coming to tell you that, oh, I don't know things, come and teach me. What if the person cannot come out to say this or come out to say that, or the person has been taught not to? What then?
So let me speak from the angle you spoke from. I have a close community of ladies who I pray with and all of that. I've been in that group for about 9 years. And there was a particular year, it was February 14, and we're just talking, okay, what were you going to do to surprise our husband? And the issue of sex came up. And we had, the people that were more experienced, that had been married for longer, they shared one or two things they knew. Someone had a book. It wasn't so graphic. It was just pictures of men and women, and the different positions they could try. And people saying, oh, this one is easy, this one is not this, and all of that. I feel you should be able to have, if you can't have the conversation with your spouse, maybe because you are somewhat ashamed, and I don't know why you should be ashamed, but if you are, then you need to find a safe place where you can share your question. So for someone like me, when I was getting married, for example, okay, I didn't get married as a virgin. I need to say that categorically. So, but when we had our pre-marriage counseling, our reverend then he went into the whole family planning thing with us. I knew everything about family planning from the reverend who counseled us, and he gave the lowdown, and he said, oh, this is what he did, why it worked for him, and this is what he felt about this or what he felt about that. So when I went to see my doctor, for example, I was informed. So I'm saying all of this to say, get information. If you cannot communicate with your spouse, probably because maybe you're already married, for example, and you really have not been having that effective communication, find a safe place where you can have that conversation. For me, like I said, I found someone on YouTube. Nobody knew. I searched her out. I just found her. I don't know if I'm allowed to say her name. If I am, I'll drop her name. But I found the person. It wasn't porn or anything. She wasn't there with anyone. She just explained how your body was going to respond, how your body should move, and all of that. I just think we should constantly evolve, because even the men, if a man categorically thinks, oh, I know it all, with time as you get married, it's going to seem like old school, it's old story. A woman also needs things spiced up. You need to learn how. And I'm not saying go and find a lady or go and watch porn. There are many instruments of learning this thing we're talking about.
Yeah, Kumbi. Sorry, Babs, if you don't mind. Yeah, it's interesting that if we, again, like we've said all evening, if we go back to the fundamentals of respect and clear communication, half of these problems are gone. when it comes to what Funke is saying now, earlier when I was talking about creed, let's take creed, Christianity, for instance. There's a difference between we both believe in Jesus, and we are both deeper life, and we are both Catholic, and we are both a particular sect of the religion. So when I'm talking creed, I'm saying granular creed. We both believe, because there are Christians that would defend oral sex, and there are Christians that will say anything but missionary is a sin. So you and I need to be clear what we are talking about. For me, let me tell you this. We are in love, our bodies belong to each other. There is nothing you cannot use the body to do, except the places that are exit only, if you get my point. So let's be very clear about it. Let's be very clear. So we need to agree. So for me,
talking about it.
Yeah, so for me, those are the things. So creed is important. Do we agree on the tenets of the creed that we agree? Do we agree? Do you understand? So that deeper life will not marry elevation and now be having redeem problem. You understand? So let's be clear about that thing.
Okay. Thank you for that. Babs, over to you. You were going to say something.
Okay. Yeah. When we are talking about communication about what somebody wants to do and what the other person doesn't want to do, we must also ask about the ability to execute these things. All right. When it comes to basic things like, not basic, some women will tell you they can't twerk, right? That no matter how hard I try, I really can't do this thing. So if your expectation is that your wife must be able to do this, or as a woman, your expectation is your husband must be able to first do what's it called now? Foreplay for 40 minutes and then do the do for another 1 hour. What if there's no ability? I go or not? We're built differently. And then Funke, I don't know if I have your permission to speak freely and not speak as a Christian or as a religion. I totally don't like bringing religion to a lot of things, to be honest. For people that know me, I just like to speak like.
Yeah, but it shapes people, actually. Yeah,
I know it does. No, I don't want to argue religion.
Let's hear your view. Let's hear your view, please.
Right. Okay. I'm sure, well, a lot of religious people will not agree with me. But when it comes to checking compatibility on a lot of things, there's some people that are not sexually compatible.
True.
Let's say it the way it is. And the only way you find out is to actually have the sex, even before marriage. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it. These are things people don't like to talk about. Yeah, but trust me, I am of the opinion that if you're going to spend your life with somebody, even if not once or twice, making that time. I know it's against
so
what
if
the
it
Bible
happens
says.
once or twice and you say no, you're not compatible. So the next person once or twice, no. The next person, no. Would you keep doing that?
Let me make my landing. So the landing is for women. Some will tell you it's not about the size, it's about how you use it. Some will tell you, it's totally about the size. You know, these are things. And then suddenly you get married to somebody and the person takes off the wig or takes off the hairline and takes off the paddings, and you're like, so you're not even getting ash. Or somebody goes and takes off his clothes and like, is this all? This is all the things inside here. This one no fit do me. And then you end up cheating eventually, or you go outside your marriage. So if we're going to be honest and factual with ourselves, you've taken me out to lunch. I've learned to cook for you. I've shown you my skills on how to provide for the family. Oh, I can, I can organize your house for you. I'm a homely woman. I can raise godly children. But the truth is, me and you are not sexually compatible, and you want me to be sleeping with you. Or the small thing that God gave me is not enough to satisfy you. How do you want us to handle that? It's not my fault. The thing is not going to grow any bigger. Or like Lucas said, I want you to. Some women don't like heads. Finish. They like the real thing. And then if the thing not do, okay, I don't want plastic. I don't want the dildo. I don't want the vibrator. Whatever the thing is. but I can't match up. She's used to a size. I can't match up. What did make her do? I cannot grow the thing. I cannot do plastic surgery. And then, oh, yeah, pastor said married to sex. Every time I see you looking all put together, wearing flare skirts and all of that. And I'm an Ibadan man. I like a libido curve. And then suddenly the day comes and then you remove the clothes. I'm like, oh my God. Nothing, there's nothing. Like, I mean, nothing. Everything just no pure. And this is what I like. And this is what I like.
Funke, you said the truth about marriage no one talks about. These are real situations.
These are the things.
These are real situations.
No premeditated.
I get what you're saying.
Who even says I want to have sex with you after I found out that you can't even do this? Or I remember one time I was in uni and I was dating her. Well, I love the honesty of Kumbi that she didn't get married as a virgin. Who did they give money saying a virgin? Anyway, I met this girl and then, I met this girl and then we were about to get to it. And then, we got to it and then eventually we're trying to switch styles. And then she goes like, no, I'm not doing that style. Do I look like a prostitute to you? I laughed so hard as it was over. And because I'm like, that's what she said. I hope she's changed before she got married.
The style of a prostitute.
Which one is style of prostitute? Which one is style of sister?
Well, I don't know what you guys were doing though. So maybe to her. So that's the thing.
Which style was described in the Bible?
Okay, so I think we'll be able to answer.
You want to use better power? Which one was described in the Bible?
And Abraham went into his wife Sarah. Leave it like that. And Abraham went into his wife Sarah. That is the style in the Bible.
Use your veto power, Funke. Yeah,
that's it.
The Bible tell you how Abraham went into.
So that is it. So at that point,
there's some discussions that need to be had.
Okay, so we're going to have this conversation in the next session. Could be there. Okay, so I'm sure, Passing the Footballer, I'm sure we have answered your question. So, Kumi, you wanted to say something before I continue with the conversation?
You look flustered. What's the problem?
See, the truth is, what you said, right? I have another angle to it, and I will say this.
Right.
I do not subscribe to premarital sex. It is wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
So even from a moral point of view, so if we're not even talking about Christianity, from a moral point of view, and everything we have been talking about here.
If you're saying not from Christianity, but what's morally wrong about it then? Again, I said something earlier on. When it comes to adultery and fornication, it's the most celebrated thing ever. People will lie and backbite.
Sex is not just sex,
but nobody talks about them. Oh, this guy, he's sleeping before marriage. Oh, this guy is cheating. That it makes him a pariah. People do worse things in life.
We're going to continue this conversation, Babs. Now, we all talked about communication, right? And there are actually certain things that you can get right even in marriage. So you talk about the lady, maybe before marriage, is wearing maybe like a bonbon pad or something, and the day you get married to her, you can see that it's no longer there. There are actually exercises that she could actually do to have that. So you talk about, oh, this person is not good, this person is not this. You teach each other. So marriage is teachable. You guys are teaching each other. These are my expectations. This is what I want. This is what I want. And then, like Lucas said, once you respect your spouse enough, you would actually work at it. So Kumbi said something that she felt that she wanted to spice her marriage. She went to learn. So I think in marriage, you get to learn. So it's not about eating the cherry or the cookie before marriage and you feel that, oh, yes, we've arrived. Because the truth is that even if you ate that cookie, by the time you now got married to the person, all those things you ate before, you were not saying it, what happened? Yeah. So the issue of marriage, let's continue the conversation. So Nifemi is saying, great conversation, and she's clapping. Thank you so much for that feedback. Olakbeju is saying, Kumbi, she's waving, she's clapping, thumbs up. Nifemi is saying, Emmanuel Thompson is saying, I love this show. It is really interesting. Thank you so much for the feedback. Nifemi is saying, I disagree. When God prepares something for you, you trust him completely to give you what will align with your needs and values, etc. So that is about premarital sex. Thank you so much for that. Emmanuel Tonta is saying, honestly, sex before marriage is good, though. We've heard your feedback, sir. Different is saying, with your needs. Okay, typo. So she's saying, I do not subscribe to it as well. Thank you so much for that. Olakpeju is saying, I think communication can solve some of these things before marriage. People should talk during the dating phase, and hopefully some of these preferences about sex would come out. So we have Glory Elia saying premarital sex is a no-no with the red sign. Thank you all for the feedback, and thank you all for the questions and also for the answers to the questions. So for those people that are tuning in today for the first time, I like to say welcome. This is a very wonderful community. Hit on the subscribe button. And I'd like to say that we're going to have this conversation next month because we've not even scratched the surface. There's a lot of things to talk about. And I would like to say to our guests, thank you so much for honoring our invites and also for saying the truth. As it is. It's been a wonderful conversation. So I would like to say, share this with your community, talk about this. We're going to have this same conversation, next month. And also we're having another conversation next week, Saturday, why men disrespect women. Till I come your way next time, this is Gbogbo Swagger and this is Swagger's Lifestyle. Do take care. Thank you so much to our guests.
Thank you.
Thank you, Funke. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Funke.
Thank you. So we have Peju saying, don't bother, don't be together alone talking about it if you don't want to, if you want to avoid premarital sex. Okay, that is about, when you're dating and you're talking about your sexual preference. So she's saying, don't just be together alone talking about it if you want to avoid premarital sex. And she's saying, thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Babs. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Kumbi.
Thank you so much.
Signing out. Swagger. This is Swagger.
Bye, Lucas.
Boss.